In March 2020, the country awoke to a new pandemic that would grip the nation. It was tough.
COVID-19.
The coronavirus.
Coronavirus lockdown.
The pandemic.
COVID-19.
The way the city and its 1 million inhabitants went about their everyday lives would change dramatically, with businesses, faith groups and community centres temporarily closing their doors and adjusting to the new reality.
There was a lot of confusion, first of all, misinformation from social media, from everyone watching the updates on TV every day.
But when lockdown started, he said to me, "Oh, I've got to be in the house for 3 weeks." Oh God, am I going to get through 3 weeks?
I was told that I was one of the people that was shielded and I had to stay at home. I didn't actually have any contact with anybody at all.
As lockdown began, supermarket shelves were stripped bare due to panic buying. Employees across many sectors were furloughed and coronavirus cases began to rise. This saw a massive increase in the demand for food. The Active Wellbeing Society, a community benefit organisation, changed direction, moving from delivering activities across the city to sourcing and delivering food for those that now needed it, as well as providing emotional support for those facing isolation and loneliness.
Well, when the virus struck and obviously the need for lockdown, the Active Wellbeing Service approached myself and the City Council looking to change their remit to cope with what was likely to come up during the lockdown. And so we were happy really to work with them to shift the emphasis away from physical activity and to the supply of food, because we knew there were going to be literally thousands of families across the city of Birmingham who were going to be in need of food.
We were actually thinking, what can we do as an organisation? We knew the needs of the communities were still strong. We knew that there was poverty in the communities. So we engaged with partners, engaged with the council, and we stepped in and worked with a whole range of partners to bring together BrumTogether and to develop a food relief network.
We saw an increase in demand for our food, so 4 times the number of charities have actually come forward to us.
We were working with lots of different groups to collect surplus from anyone and everyone who wanted to donate it or deliver it, and we were collecting up to 10 tonnes a week of surplus food that we would redistribute to both people in need and people who understood the concept of reducing waste. We also became quite heavily involved with the setup of the BrumTogether distribution hub in Ladywood. We were very prominent really in talking about how to distribute food, because that was something we'd been doing for several years.
It was amazing how quickly it all happened. Within days we had an emergency food distribution centre. Over the whole period of time, 482 tonnes of food were actually given out. Thousands of volunteers coming in across the city, providing support, delivering parcels, phoning people up, street after street, people signing up to support their neighbours, their neighbourhood.
So COVID-19 happened. We're a charity that largely exists to bring people together, and then we discovered that we couldn't do that anymore, so we had to have a massive rethink. And then we discovered there was a gap. Tours was saying, look, we're about 20 tonnes a week short of the food that is required, and we thought we might have half a chance at addressing that.
The BrumTogether campaign saw communities, charities, faith groups, businesses, GPs and other health providers working as one for the greater good of the city, our city. Food was initially collected and distributed out of Druids Heath and Ladywood. As more people needed help with food, bigger spaces were required, like the Student Union building provided free by Aston University. This was just one of a number of spaces provided for free across the city.
So what you'll see going on here today is a huge hall full of food. That food has been provided by FareShare, been paid for by Birmingham City Council, and then the BrumTogether group of organisations with the Active Wellbeing Society are pooling resources to distribute as much of this food and get it to the people who really need it as fast as possible.
As I'm sure you're aware, BrumTogether and the response in Birmingham has been great. Although we can't see each other a lot, Actually, we've all been able to communicate with organisations much better. Someone from Tours said, you know, clothing's become a massive issue. We'd love to do something, but we just haven't got the space. At which point, Guy Rippon, who's the head of the foundation, said, well, actually, Villa Park is a massive area. We've got this amazing venue. It's not being used.
As COVID-19 cases and deaths increased, so did the impact on the wider community.
Pre-COVID-19, the community would engage via the several projects and events that we would do in the mosque. Within a week's time, we realised that we will have to close the mosque for congregation. As soon as this happens, this means that the centre of our community and community engagement will be shut down. And that sort of hit us quite badly. And I remember making the announcement on a Friday, that was our last congregation. We all cried. We had to do something extraordinary to make sure that the engagement of the community and the mosque continues. We knocked on doors, we asked them, what's the need? We realised that food was the major issue that was actually coming out and staring at us in the face.
Pre-COVID-19, the food bank was available but only 2 days a week. Since COVID-19 came in, it's 7 days a week, and we have emergency hours as well outside of the normal operating hours.
The Active Wellbeing Society contacted Birmingham Solidarity and asked us to be part of BrumTogether. We were relying on, you know, big donations from the Active Wellbeing Society and other groups. Sewer Day has helped us quite a lot as well. But now with the local community, we're not relying on that so much.
BrumTogether wasn't just about the partners working together. It saw volunteers across every culture stepping up to help out.
I feel like I'm doing something good for the community. When I've been doing the deliveries, you see the people that you're delivering to and you see kind of, they say thank you, they're so grateful. And then also the collection boxes I've been doing, one of my friends got a thank you card in her collection box, which was from one of her neighbours in her flats, just saying thank you for enabling me to donate. I've kind of personally seen firsthand people that need it, and I'm really happy that now I can help the community.
A friend of mine kind of been in contact with me about he was involved and kind of said now I was going to be furloughed from work that it was a good thing to kind of get involved in. Lots of different people from different backgrounds, different jobs, different areas have really pulled together to make sure that this is like a citywide kind of response to obviously a big problem.
I was motivated to help because there's so many key workers and people on the front line who are doing an amazing job. The way I could help was I had a van, a vehicle that could be used.
I got involved because it's a very touching incident. Like, the world is in pandemic, and if I could contribute a little bit of my own, it would be nice and it would be very helpful to everyone.
I got used to certain people and I knew them quite well, and they would check to see that I was okay. It was the difference sometimes between ringing the Samaritans and just having another friendly face. I felt very, very, very isolated. I felt very, very alone, and I felt very, very frightened. And who would think that somebody delivering a small amount of food would make a difference? But it did.
A great deal of difference because I've not been able to do any work at all since the pandemic. Been short of money and short of funds to get. It's been a great difference. There's a lot of people in my boat. A lot of people in the same situation as me. I think it's a great help. Invaluable to a lot of people.
It's been such a help. I've had quite a few weeks of it now, and it's been really helpful.
To know that every week, twice a week, I was going to have a delivery of food was wonderful. It took that anxiety and the worry away that what am I going to do next? How am I going to feed my son, myself?
ساعات خوش مجوا ممنونين قالك سباساتك اوكي جزاك الخير.
The conversations and the responses I've had, just how life-saving that's been for many people. To be able to have someone turn up with a food parcel for you and help you has been great. And I know that the Active Wellbeing Society, when they've delivered those parcels, have made sure to check on those individuals and work with those people to ensure they're okay and link them up with other support if they need it around mental health and wellbeing, around loneliness and isolation.
As the delivery of food continued, it became clear that the need was much bigger, not just for food, but for other essentials, important things that enable people to live with dignity, as well as receiving emotional support from a team of compassionate befrienders and passionate social prescribers.
My colleague and I, we had 2 male clients who were rough sleeping, and we got them into a direct access hostel in Aston. Within the same day, we were able to get several bags full of clothes, shoes, and plus a food parcel for the clients who were really, really happy.
I found out about the hygiene packs when I made the call to the person about the food. And they said, have you had a hygiene pack? And I said, no. And then they said they would organise that for me on my behalf, and it came that day. It doesn't take much to think, oh, we're in 2020 and I was washing with washing up liquid. How much that actually made me, how that made me feel.
As lockdown continued into the 3rd or 4th week, it became apparent that most of the problems people were having were social issues.
You imagine that you're trapped in a tower block, in a flat, on your own, no one to talk to, isolated. There was a telephone service where people could actually just have a chat and actually have a friendly voice in their ear. That made a lot of difference to people's lives.
The preventive service is a telephone-based support line where we offer support to people who can present a number of problems or issues. It could be that they're isolated, it could be that they have financial difficulty, it could be that they have health-related problems. Generally speaking, we supported the GP surgeries in the first instance, and we've been able to offer that support to the practices to speak to the patients on the shielding list, make sure that they've got the support they need. The preventive service has had a positive impact on people's lives in a number of areas. So some people have actually directly said to us how grateful they are for us just being on the phone to them, and they wait for our phone call.
So today I'm going to see one of my patients called John, who I've been supporting during lockdown.
Me and Junior, you used to talk on the phone once or twice a week. There was only Junior, there was only a few people who I was speaking to. You don't realise till you need somebody, and there's really somebody there. The biggest benefit is to know there's somebody there who I can speak to and trust. This service has helped me in a big, good way, really. And if I don't have them, I don't know who I'm going to turn to, really.
I was in the house, I couldn't go out. The only place I could go was my garden. It was only me and my carer, and we needed somebody else. When you were calling me, I was looking forward to the call, just because it was somebody different, and somebody that could take the pressure off me. Your guardian angel that's come to help me. When you realise that you don't just do the chatty to me, and you do all sorts of other things.
That phone call is the bridge between sanity and losing your sanity. And that human touch, be it on the telephone, can have a big impact on somebody's life.
The Active Wellbeing Society also had to evolve their community interventions, moving from delivering activities in community settings and parks to online activities straight into people's homes.
The virtual wellbeing activities were put on by a range of staff who were so up for it and so brave that in their own front rooms they were putting on yoga, tai chi, and we had people checking into those virtual classes and getting themselves active and getting themselves feeling in a better place than they'd be without that connection.
It's about providing a similar type of experience that we would do in a real world, but mimicking it as close as possible to that. So having the fun element, having the actual live session is so important, and having that interaction with the instructor, although they're not physically in the same space, virtually they're connected.
You could read comments online and you could make your own comments, so that you did actually feel part of a group of people. Even though there was no one physically there, you could see positive comments and think, okay, someone else is enjoying this is great.
It was just surprising how it became a little bit of a community. I got to know people who I've never seen.
Taking part of the online activities, it was, I think, an amazing idea.
It's also been a way of people that are anxious about going outside, even for a walk. It's given them other ways of being able to keep themselves fit and do things within their own home where they may feel safer.
BrumTogether has been a collection of over 80 partners passionately working together, and this has been integral to its success.
Partnerships are crucial to everything we do. We won't address the issues of the city unless we collaborate and stop competing with each other. It's not about doing to, it's about doing with people.
And I think the BrumTogether project has really provided the impetus for all of those groups to work together, to share the food, to share the skill, to share the knowledge, so that we as a city have been able to make people aware that there is help out there.
Voluntary organisations right across the city have really stepped up along with individual volunteers, and in many ways the crisis ironically really has brought out the very best of Brummies.
If it was not for the partnership we'd made, we wouldn't have been able to reach the people we did.
I just think it was such a nice, kind thing to do, and it just showed that people pull together. When things are bad, it shows you that people do pull together and help each other out. And like I say, I'm forever grateful.
There are hungry people out there. There are people who every day their life is a struggle above and beyond. And until you've actually touched it yourself and felt it yourself, sometimes you don't realise that those things need to be there.
Through this action of BrumTogether, we've learnt so much about how important it is to work together. So we're really hopeful that this partnership will continue, because the need is definitely going to continue for weeks, possibly even months afterwards.
You now have a set of organisations, a set of individuals who firmly believe people should not be going hungry in our city, and we will continue to work to fight for food justice in Birmingham.
BrumTogether. This is how we do it. Yes, this is how we get through it.